I am so excited to be here tonight. You guys are going to have a great time, so whenever you can, have a seat. I promise this will be a very great night and you will be inspired at the end.
I'm Terry Caserta.
And I'm Patrick Caserta.
The Brandon Act is law today because of the efforts led by Congressman Seth Moulton, whom you are honoring tonight. We are very sorry we are unable to be with you in person, but be assured that we and Brandon, our son, are with you tonight in spirit. Congressman Moulton, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your courage, your faith, and above all, your caring for the men and women in uniform. Our military service members are safer today around the world because of the Brandon Act.
Yes, there is much more work that we need to continue doing to make conditions safer within the ranks. The Brandon Act is the start, and Congressman Moulton, you will be remembered as the person who listened and chose to do the right thing. For that, we are grateful and honored to work with you.
To the LULAC members across America, you will never know how much mothers and fathers of the men and women in uniform are thankful for you, for being the one organization that stood with us. You changed our lives and will help families for years to come.
Brandon sought justice and that his life might have meaning for others. We will always treasure our time with our son and will do everything we can to honor his memory and his wish for us.
Congressman Moulton and Lulac, you made that possible. And when President Biden signed the Brandon Act into law, we knew this would be our life's work. So thank you, and may God bless each and every one of you.
And may God bless America's servicemen and women. Thank you and good night.
It is such an honor to be here with all of you tonight. Just so you know, just so you understand what this does. The Brandon Act, which was signed into law this year by President Biden, makes it possible for those who are out there serving us, risking their lives to ensure our national security, ensures that they will get the mental health care that they need. It's named after Brandon Caserta. Brandon Caserta is an American hero, but he died by suicide because he wasn't able to get the mental health care treatment that everybody in America deserves. So his courageous parents came and visited with me, and we came up with a way to provide a solution for everyone who serves our country from now going forward. If you risk your life for our country, we're going to get you the mental health care that you need. This act will save lives. It will make our national security stronger. And it would not have happened without all of you. So I appreciate the fact that you're giving me an award, but really the thanks goes to Lulac. Thank you so much.
Buenas tardes, noches. My name is Domingo Garcia. I'm the national president of Lulac, and it's my honor to welcome you to the 25th Congressional Lulac Gala here in Washington, D.C., the capital of the greatest country in the planet Earth. Yeah, some of you might not know who Lulac is, and I'm talking to you young men and women that are visiting today at our Emerge conference. Lulac is the organization founded in 1929 to make sure that we made right the injustices in this country. That when we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and we say with liberty and justice for all, we mean all the Garcias, the Rodriguez, the Lopez, the Cardonas, los Hernandez, todos. That's what we mean. And let me tell you, Lulac has stood up when sometimes people thought we could not win. I'll just tell you briefly, we had a mother who came to us and said, Mi hija no llamado en 3 días. My daughter hasn't called in 3 days. And mi hija calls me every day. And when she went to the commander of Fort Hood and asked what happened to my mija, they wouldn't talk to her. Okay? But she went to the Lulac local council, and we listened to her. And we did prayer vigils. We put a $25,000 reward for anybody information leading to the information regarding her arrest. Now, how many of you have seen that blonde, blue-eyed girl that's missing, and there's an Amber Alert? Ever seen a Latina or an African-American girl missing on TV? Doesn't happen. But with Vanessa Guillen, it not only happened in Killeen, Texas, it went worldwide. Everywhere, people knew I am Vanessa Guillen, because we wanted justice for that mother and for every woman who has put on the uniform of our armed forces. And let me tell you, because we stood up, not only did we pass the Branding Act, we also passed the Vanessa Guillen Act to protect our women in armed services today. And it was because of you. Last month, I got a call. A truck driver from Houston, Texas had an accident in Colorado. He wasn't drunk. He wasn't on drugs. He just went to work that day, but the brakes went out. 2 people were killed in an accident. He was charged with a crime and given 110 years in prison on his first offense. We thought that was wrong. I went to Colorado, met with the governor of Colorado on behalf of Lulac. We said, this is wrong, this is not America, this is not justice. And the governor of Colorado last month commuted his sentence to 10 years. It's been reduced to 5, and they're still appealing. As you sit down today to eat that dinner on your table, I want you to think about the farm workers who got those vegetables on the plate today. Let's give them a hand. And I want you to think about the people who went to those meatpacking plants, who were essential workers. And remember during COVID, cuando estaban todos en la casa, and the only place you could go was H-E-B or the grocery store next to you? Okay? Who brought that meat to you? But you know that they died at a disproportionate rate. I got a call from Greenlee, Colorado, that at a meatpacking plant in Greenlee, there was almost all Latino and some refugees, that people were dying. First day, 3 people got sick. This is, by the way, March of 2020. In week 2, 30 people were sick. And they were being told, don't come back if you want a paycheck, and you have to work, and we don't pay you. I told the president of the plant, and we called him, and he said, we're not changing our policy. So we called the health director of the county, and then we called the governor, and the plant was closed for 2 weeks. And after that, we made a list of demands to every meatpacking plant of all in the entire United States that they had to treat their workers with respect, with dignity, and with safety, give them masks, give them plexiglass, and provide safety for them. And after about 400 workers died, by the way, everything was implemented, and no workers have died in the last 2 years from COVID at any meatpacking plant in the United States of America. So, I got elected 3 years ago. At that time, everybody lived in fear de La Llorona. La Llorona que was going to build a wall. La Llorona that was going to make Mexico pay for the wall. La Llorona that the brown people are coming. And you know what? We defeated La Llorona. The wall was not built, and we're going to continue to defend every Latino and Latina in the United States and Puerto Rico. And we're here to honor the men and women, not only in the armed services, but those in the streets. Those of you young men and women who are in our colleges, who are also working to make sure that we make an America that we can all be proud of and that we can all prosper. Because to me, Lulac is about Jose and Maria. How many of you know Maria? How many of you know Jose? How many of you know Miguel? I see a Secretary of the Education named Miguel over there. We need to stand up for them. How many Jose and Marias are serving us the food today? Let's give the hand to the cooks, the waiters today. So Lulac is 93 years young. Seguimos para adelante en la lucha. Porque sabemos lo que me dijo mi padre, que si te pones las pilas, si le echas ganas, todo se puede hacer. If you're motivated, if you got the courage, you can accomplish anything. And I'm proud of what Lulac has done in 93 years. And you know what? Todavía falta más. Muchísimas gracias. Patria, familia y Dios. Gracias. Our second award is honoring that what Miguel I just talked to you about. Dr. Miguel Cardona was sworn in as the 12th Secretary of Education on March 2nd, 2021. He is one of 4 Latinos present in Joe Biden's cabinet, the most in American history. He is only the second Puerto Rican to hold the title of U.S. Secretary of Education. Before that, he was Secretary of Education for Connecticut. I didn't even know there were Latinos in Connecticut. During the pandemic, Cardona helped provide over 100,000 laptops to students in Connecticut for remote learning while advocating for safe reopening of our schools to avoid the widening digital gap between students of color and their white peers, especially students who are learning English for the first time. Secretary Cardona has been hailed as a visionary and a humbled and experienced educator. To recognize him tonight with our National Service Award, we want to give a big welcome, Lulac welcome, to the Honorable Miguel Cardona.
Thank you. Cardona, qué honor. Me siento entre familia aquí. What an honor to be recognized by the League of United Latin American Citizens this evening, alongside with so many other distinguished leaders like Dr. Maria Elena Botasi, Congressman Moulton, Congressman Torres, and of course my fellow Boricua, Mayor Romero Lugo. I have so much admiration for Lulac. Me recuerdo cuando el presidente me llamó y me dijo, hey, I want to nominate you. Yo dije, claro que yes, yo voy. Pero nobody knew who I was, this guy from Connecticut, donde no hay latino, ¿verdad? Lulac was right there. Lulac was right there. One of the first calls was Lulac. And I love your passion. For the younger generation, let's not lose that, please. It may not be as visible, but let's not lose that passion because there's a fight ahead. I especially want to thank CEO Cindy Marisol Benavides. Me gusta decirle ese nombre, Marisol, mi hermanita se llama Marisol. So when I think of that name, I think of my sister, Cindy. Thank you for what you do. And of course, Board Chair Domingo Garcia. Un aplauso para él también. I'm grateful for your partnership with the Department of Education, especially over the last year, from our recent webinar on COVID-19 to your valuable input on our policy agenda. Lulac is a force to be reckoned with, a uniting voice for the hopes and dreams of our diverse and vast Latino community. And to be sure, we are diverse. Our families hail from different regions, different countries, and even different hemispheres. Our faces come in all beautiful different shades. We are united by our values and our aspirations. We believe in the promise of this country down to our bones. It's in our DNA. Yet, we are as American as apple pie and rice and beans. Or frijoles, or whatever you call it. We are as Americans as apple pie and rice and beans and habichuelas. It wouldn't be right if I accepted this award without thanking a few other giants as well. And it's important to say their names. Avelino and Maria de la Paz Cardona. Those are my abuelos. Our ability to convene tonight, drink fancy champagne, shape national policy, and is only possible because of the sacrifices made by them and many others who gave up so much and paved the road for us. Papa Avelino worked as a foreman in the sugarcane fields of Aguada, Puerto Rico. He and Mama Paita lived near the water in a beautiful campo. He gave that beautiful life up to move from paradise to the projects, feeling at times like a second-class citizen, so that my father and his siblings could have a better life in Connecticut. Not knowing English, he came here, he cut tobacco, and he opened doors so that 2 generations later, I can tell the President of the United States how we can open schools and help students achieve their God-given potential. This award is as much theirs as it is mine. I also want to take a moment to pay tribute to a former U.S. Secretary of Education, Lauro Cavazos, who sadly passed away this week. Lauro was born in 1927, just 2 years before the formation of Lulac in 1929. Secretary Cavazos was a true trailblazer, a 6th-generation Mexican-American who became the first Hispanic cabinet secretary in our nation's history. I stand on his shoulders. In this room today, there are many other giants. I may have never met most of you or even know who you are. But what I do know is that I can fly today because you marched yesterday. I have privilege today because you were persistent yesterday. I have a voice in the White House today because you made sure your voices were heard. Lulac, my success is a product of your sacrifice. Your work allowed this little jibarito to dream big. Yeah. Hasta están tirando plato allá porque saben. I'm humbled to represent you all and the great work you do. Ustedes me abrieron las puertas. Gracias. Because of you, the Latino experience will influence our decisions at the Department of Education. Because of you, hablamos español en la Casa Blanca. Especialmente cuando los 4 miembros de latinos del gabinete estamos juntos. Se forma todo un lío. Because of you, se puede escuchar salsa en los pasillos del Departamento de Educación. You know, at the department, we're integrating equity into everything we do. Historic investments through the American Rescue Plan are helping schools recover from the pandemic and transform education. And I want to thank those folks from the Hill that are being honored tonight and those that are not being honored tonight who voted for it. Half of our elected officials did not vote for it. I want to thank those who are here who did vote for it, so thank you. That included over $11 billion for America's Hispanic Serving Institution. We relaunched the White House initiative on advancing educational equity, excellence, and economic prosperity and opportunity for Hispanics, led by Melody Gonzalez. Ella está por aquí. ¿Dónde está Melody? The initiative will host economic summits across the nation, including next Tuesday in San Antonio and next Saturday in Denver. And our public service loan forgiveness program has already canceled over $17 billion in student loan debt, more than any other administration combined in 1 year. We need more Latino teachers, first responders, and other public servants to apply. We're making progress, and we must continue striving to build a better education system with the same passion that Domingo showed. One that is truly student-centered and rooted in equity. We need Lulac members across America to join in these efforts to fight for our Latino students and to hold us accountable at the Department of Education. So, hoy les tengo una tarea. I am a teacher after all, so you have homework. Your homework is to help more Latinos choose an impactful career as an educator. Let's help get more students inspired by teachers who share their heritage and share and understand their experiences. Tap them on the shoulder. Open their eyes to becoming teachers. Then mentor them. Let them know that not only can they navigate the education space, but someday they can also lead it. Let's encourage more Latinos to join the federal government or pursue another form of public service. We need you. We need you. Latinos are 27% of the K-12 student population and about 20% of the college student population, but yet only 10% of the nation's teachers, principals, college faculty, and federal workers. Imagínate el sabor que tendría Washington, D.C. si hay más latinos. Las parrandas, las posadas, imagínate, las fiestas, las galas. Oh. The time is right for Latino leadership. It's always been true, but especially so right now. Una de las favoritas canciones mías es Flor Pálida. Y como el título de la canción de Mark Anthony, Flor Pálida, dice, hoy yo pienso que la educación es una flor pálida. Está marchita y deshojada, casi pálida, ahogada en un suspiro. Pero nosotros somos los jardineros. Le vamos a poner un poquito de amor para que nunca se vaya. Y de aquella flor, hoy el dueño soy yo. De aquella flor, los dueños somos nosotros. Let's work harder than ever, with a greater sense of that Latino passion that we have, to make our schools better than they've ever been. Como sabemos, en la unión está la fuerza. Thank you again for this honor y que sigan pa'lante, Lulac. Thank you.
And we have Andres Rodriguez, who's Lulac's National Vice President for Young Adults and a traveling spoken word artist. Can we have an applause for him, please? Well, his brand new piece entitled Too Many defines what our young adults and college Lulac members have addressed as top issues and main priorities for the year of 2022. Congratulations. Welcome to the stage, Andres Rodriguez. We are proud to have you.
Mucho gusto, mucho gusto. Buenas tardes. How's everyone doing? Good, good, good. Before I provide some poetic remarks, thank you so much for your attention. We've had so many great speakers already, but we have so many after me. So I really want to take the time here to have the opportunity to have all of our Emerge Conference attendees stand up. Our Lulac Young Adults and Collegiate Lulac members stand up, please, so everyone here can see that all the Young Adult and the Emerge Conference participants are here and the future. If you could please stand up, give them a round of applause. All right. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to express what the young adults and the collegiate members find that are most important this year, such as voting, COVID relief, student loans, as we just saw Secretary Cardona. So I know that we're in the year 2022 now, so it's only right that I title this piece Too Many. So now I'd like to be interactive. So I need everyone to help me out to just get us started. When I say vamos, everyone says a votar, okay? Vamos, vamos, vamos. This is a call to action. A call to action to wake up, to believe in the power of your voice, and to vote. You see, there comes too many times every 2 to 4 years where we pay attention like we've allowed some candidates to pay for their power. Knowing there's no longer time to play games in this final hour, there are too many times where we know that our vision is clear. It's right up on the screen. Our vision is here, clear with this dream. Our country needs true leadership. Our patience has been dragging on for way too long. Am I the only one that's tired of some representative's same old song? There's too many times we feel like when we take 2 steps forward, we all take 10 steps back. But we're still here and continue to stand up where our communities are under attack. Nuestra comunidad no merece toda esta falta de respeto, porque esto nos da cuenta que nuestro objetivo está incompleto. We need people like Cindy Benavides and Secretary Miguel Cardona that guide us and pick us up when we're feeling low. Leaders that will stand up for our rights wherever and everywhere we may go. You see, we have people like Secretary Haaland, Mayor Miguel Romero, and Congress members Moulton and Torres that are encouraging our youth. At only 93 years young, Lulac is the proof. The proof that at the end of the day, we always stick to our values. But our family's voice needs to be heard with whomever we may choose. You see, there's too many times that our parents picked fruit and harvested crops on dirt fields to bring children hope. It's time to make these changes, empower minds, and harvest all of our votes. Your abuelos and abuelas' testimonies make us so much stronger, and we choose not to be invisible any longer. Now, when that moment comes, will you make the right decision? A vote for our familias or a vote for prisons? Now, there's no more time to wonder. Now it's time for action, not just sit. Remember this from here on out. We must vote. Our lives depend on it. Now, I have one question for everyone here. Les pregunto a todos esta noche. ¿Vamos a votar? ¿Vamos a votar? ¿Vamos a votar? Now let's get to voting and let our voices be heard. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you for being here with Lulac tonight, and welcome back to Washington, D.C.
And now, next, speaking on behalf of presenting sponsor AT&T, the Director of Public Relations, Celeste Carrasco. Welcome.
See, one thing that you got to learn when you are sponsoring something is get the loudest people to sit at your table. So if you want to sit at my table, you got to do like a screaming test later on. Just, I'll be holding auditions. So it's amazing to be here. Who else is excited to be here tonight? I mean, we are in person. I cannot believe I'm actually hugging people. So I'm a hugger. So if you see me later on, you want to do a random hug, just come up, just surprise me. My name is Celeste Carrasco. I'm the Director of Federal Public Affairs at AT&T, and it is our pleasure to be the presenting sponsor for this gala. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I am so excited to be in partnership with this great organization. I want to congratulate Cindy Benavides. I want to congratulate Domingo Garcia. I want to congratulate the board of directors, and I want to congratulate every single one of their members, because without you, this organization would not exist, and you have to recognize that. So please take a moment to applaud the work that everybody is doing. I'm going to keep it short, but I want to shout out to the Emerge students that were at the AT&T Center today. Where are you guys? That's it? That's like as loud as you guys get? There we go. These young young adults are the future of this country. So I am so proud of all the work that they're doing. I'm so excited that they were here. So please network. That was one of the things that they took away from today. Network, network, network. Get to know people. Take their cards. And with that, I thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a great night.
Most Americans think about the digital divide as the disparity between those who benefit from the internet and digital technologies and those who don't.
Families who are living in poverty, they don't have access to the same tools and resources that others do. So they're disconnected from what's happening in the community. Family Gateway was started as a response to a population that we don't typically think about when we think about homelessness, and that's families with children. So here at the Family Gateway shelter, they will use these wonderful computers for education, for jobs, for looking for housing. They'll use the computers to connect to the outside world.
There's a lot to be excited about when we open up these centers. And I know that inside of that excitement is the opportunity for them to grow, achieve their educational ambitions, and then be a productive part of society.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and good evening. On behalf of the Secretary of the Army, Christine Wormuth, I extend her best wishes and congratulations to all the honorees this evening. Your commitment and service to the Hispanic community is truly inspiring. Dr. Garcia, Ms. Benavides, thank you for including Army and myself in this important event. Secretary Cardona, Secretary Holland, Representative Moulton, Representative Torres, Representative Gonzalez, Representative Castro, Representative Ruiz. There's a lot of people here. Thank you for the excellent example of public service you set for all of us. It's my honor to be here tonight to represent the soldiers, civilians, and family members of the United States Army. Right now, more than 139,000 Hispanic Americans serve in the Army, and nearly 9% of Army civilians identify as Hispanic. So the strong partnership that we have with the League of United Latin American Citizens is very important to us. The Army shares Lulac's passion and advocacy for diversity and inclusion, education, mentorship, and professional development, technology, healthcare, veterans affairs, and the environment. We appreciate your leadership and dedication to our servicemen and women. This evening, as we consider current world events, we all appreciate the importance of a strong, diverse, agile Army manned by courageous men and women who have come together from all across our great nation. We know that future battles will require a culturally diverse Army, and that differing attributes, experiences, cultures, characteristics, backgrounds, and talents are force multipliers. Our first priority in the Army is to put our people first. People are our greatest resource, and it's their talent, skills, and commitment that give us a competitive advantage over our adversaries. As Secretary Wormuth told the force, the Army is its people, and a strong, healthy, resilient, and trained force is the most important indicator of our readiness. Putting people first means that every soldier and civilian has the opportunity to excel as far as their talents will take them. And we want everybody to be able to use their knowledge and skills and their training to contribute to our mission. Ensuring individuals equal and fair treatment enables them to achieve their potential and tap into their skills and talent. Putting people first is something that Lulac understands and embraces. You champion the causes of Hispanic Americans and seek to make lives of individuals better through advocacy and action. You've positively influenced Army policy changes to better protect individuals who serve. The United States Army is the world's premier fighting force because we bring the nation's best people into our ranks. I'm proud to say that my office works every day to make the Army look like the nation we all love, for there's no doubt that we are stronger when we can all contribute. We are so thankful for Lulac's partnership with the Army and your willingness to help us put people first. Thank you so much for the warm welcome, and I look forward to this evening and our ongoing partnership.
Now, please welcome to the stage Jessica Martinez, National Women's Commissioner for New Mexico.
From a single mother who had to volunteer at her child's preschool to afford early childhood education, to a graduate who earned her JD from UNM Law School, to becoming the first Native American to serve as cabinet secretary. The Honorable Deborah Haaland is inspiration in motion. Yes. Please help me in honoring Secretary Deb Haaland with the National Freedom and Justice Award.
I'm honored to join you from the ancestral homelands of the Osage, Eastern Cherokee, Shawnee, Yuchi, Tutelo, Moniton, and Adena people. President Garcia and Chief Executive Benavides, thank you for the invitation to share a few words at Lulac's 25th National Legislative Awards Gala. It means the world to me to receive Lulac's National Freedom and Justice Award, especially because Lulac is rooted in creating a more just and free country for everyone. For nearly a century, this important organization has taken a stand for marginalized communities and invested in leaders who have the commitment to move our country on a path toward equity. I was just at the South by Southwest conference in Austin, Texas yesterday, where I discussed my 5-step guide to taking equity and inclusion to the next level. My remarks centered on folks taking the plunge to be the first, making space for others to lead, learning the real history of our country, the good and the bad, being fierce and leaving the ladder down for more people to climb. It's something I practice in my own leadership style, and I know it's something that Lulac does every day. Thank you all. You know as well as I do that climate change and economic uncertainty impacts people of color at disproportionate rates. And that's why Interior is working to build equity and inclusion into every single thing that we do. From ensuring that everyone has access to the outdoors, no matter their income, background, or zip code, to cleaning up legacy pollution, to creating good paying union jobs and a clean energy economy. We're focused on ensuring every community benefits from the work that our Department of Interior does. It's something that's important to me, and it's important to President Biden. Thank you all so much for this generous and kind award. I hope all of you enjoy Lulac's 25th National Legislative Awards Gala, and I look forward to seeing you all in person the next time. Thank you again.
As a fellow teacher, when the secretary was speaking, I was thinking, I hope I don't have to get up and do my teacher voice, but you all are being so quiet. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here in a room full of fellow community and civil rights advocates, allies, and partners. I want to add my thanks and Google's thanks to Lulac's board, all of your leaders, President Garcia, my friend Cindy Benavides, and of course, all of your members. The reason I want to say thank you is because you do the work. You've been doing it for 93 years, and I know you will keep doing it for as long as the cause of equity and justice needs champions. Champions like every one of you here, the trailblazers, door openers, and advocates for the Latino community, and for so many others who need someone to fight for them. The truth is that change, progress, and increasingly just hope, holding on to hope, is hard. And we need as many change makers as we can get to come to the table. That's why, even though my background, like many of you, is in civil rights, I used to lead policy for the National Urban League, one of Lulac's sister organizations, I decided to continue my work at Google. Google has made a commitment to advancing racial justice and economic equity, and it is my focus 100% of the time inside the company and out. We've taken some important steps. We've invested more than $20 million in the last several years to give Latinos access to more and better opportunities, and we're committed to investing more. We're collaborating with Hispanic-serving institutions to equip students with applied computer science skills. We're partnering with Lulac to create more pathways for Latinos to develop skills, to grow careers and businesses. And we are providing scholarships for Google Career Certificates, which have helped Latino job seekers secure jobs in high-growth fields in less than 6 months. We have a lot of work left to do to get this right, but you have our commitment to continue investing and pushing the boundaries of this important work forward. And you can know that we will keep this commitment because I know that you will hold us accountable. Please enjoy the rest of the evening, and God bless you.
Congresswoman Norma J Torres represents California's 35th Congressional District in the Inland Empire. Since day one in office, Representative Torres has worked tirelessly to make government more responsive to the needs of Inland Empire residents, which includes Bloomington, Chino, Fontana, Montclair, Ontario, Pomona, and Rialto. Over the course of her career in government, Representative Torres has many great accomplishments, including playing a significant role in making the Affordable Care Act work for Californians, and leading the efforts for the Keep Your Home California program, which helped secure $2 billion in federal funds to help thousands of families keep their homes during the foreclosure crisis. A lifelong priority for Representative Torres has been fighting crime and making sure public safety systems are responsive to the needs of the community. Please welcome National Service Awardee Congresswoman Norma Torres.
Wow, muchas gracias. Saben que mi favorito es Domingo. Mi día favorito es Domingo. ¿Dónde está Domingo? No, disculpe. I want to thank Lulac for recognizing, Domingo, you're my favorite today, okay, recognizing so many people that have, have achieved a lot of things, but none of us would be able to do what we do without your help, because only in America can a little girl from Guatemala come here and be a member of Congress. Can you imagine that? Only in America.
Love the Air Force. Larry Romo with the GI Forum. Next week we will be in El Paso and in California to go meet with the deported veterans. You know, we passed the Vanessa Guillen Act, we passed the Brendan Act, and when Roger Rocha asked me 5 years ago to come on board to be the chair of veterans, the first bill that we started working on was the Deported Veterans Bill 5 years ago, and we're getting very close. The VA has done some excellent work under this president. We're going to follow through, so I'm going to ask for all your help in the coming months to make sure we get the word out, because they have put all the tools together for us to do the outreach to their families so we can bring them back home. It's not fair that they fought for you to be here tonight. They fought for you to be here. And now they can't get back home. But you know what? We're going to bring them home this year. So it's also my honor to introduce the next person who's coming up. He's actually the vice chair. And even though I'm in the Marine Corps, he's Air Force, okay? Those guys that look tall, you know. Leonard also spent many years, like I did, at the federal government at the highest level. I saw that in him. I said, will you serve as our vice chair? He helped me. There was 3 other members that helped us. The Casertas from Arizona, the parents of Brandon Caserta, D. James, who lives here in Virginia, and then one of the Lulac staff members. You know, not only do I want to thank the vice presidents and the state directors and our board for helping us get the word out on those last 2, but now our homework, like I said, I'm going to ask y'all again to help us to bring our veterans back home. Leonard Gonzalez, California, Air Force. Thank you. Good evening. Shout out to the Air Force. And all veterans. I want to echo and footstomp everything that Roman just said. So I don't want to repeat all of that. But I do want to identify some folks in the committee who were boots on the ground for us.
Crystal Romero out of Mexico, and also Lisa James from Virginia. They were the folks that actually went out to the various cities and put together great programs, great public information. And also want to thank Congressman Bolton for pushing through and persevering on the Brandon Act. When Roman says that we did anything with that legislation, well, we were basically just assisting Congress to try to get that done. The other thing is, great shout out to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Congressman Ruiz, and all the work that your caucus is doing. We have been working with Stephanie and Gala, and we've been in contact with her, and we do want to bring our veterans up. So we know that that's the next level that we're looking forward to that. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this was indeed a national LULAC effort. LULAC in California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, DC, and Virginia, all involved in making this happen. So, you know, teamwork makes the dream work, right? So it was really the teamwork that came together with these great individuals. So, okay. With that, good evening.
Good evening and welcome. On behalf of the nearly 200 members of the District of Columbia, LULAC members, 8 councils, we want to welcome you to the nation's capital. I have the distinct honor of being the State Director of the District of Columbia, the 51st state. And I also have another title. I'm honored, thanks to Domingo Garcia, to be the chair of the National LGBTQ Affairs Committee. LULAC works hand in hand with LGBT community organizations across the United States to ensure that everyone gets full equality. Equality for all. But the best title I have in LULAC is being a LULAC youth sponsor. Today, I'm joined by the table all the way in the back, LULAC Council 1702, is here. They took part in that Say Yes to the Dress event last night, and we had such a great time, so we want to thank National LULAC for that. I have the pleasure of bringing people to come speak to these youth, to empower them, to get them to see life after high school, things that they could aspire to. And the one person that they were very, very impressed with was someone that they could relate to. Many of the students that go to this school come from Central America. They have family that crossed the river, or they themselves migrated up here to Washington, D.C. So they were just flabbergasted, in awe, that someone like them is the national CEO of one of the largest and oldest Hispanic civil rights organizations. That someone, a young Latina immigrant, is not only running the show here at LULAC, but she's actually have a seat at the table when President Biden asked Latino leaders to come to talk about policy. She has a seat at the table. And they cannot believe that one of them is up there making those decisions. Please welcome that person, my friend, an advocate to me, a fierce ally, Cindy Benavides.
Good evening a todos, and welcome to the 25th Annual LULAC National Legislative Awards Gala. It is my sincere honor and privilege to share this moment with such a distinguished group of leaders. I would like to recognize our honorees for their tremendous work and also acknowledge key leaders in this room. Congressman Darren Soto, Congresswoman Jennifer Gonzalez Colon, Resident Commissioner of Puerto Rico, Congressman Vicente Gonzalez, Representative Ruiz, Chairman of the CHC, Representative Joaquin Castro, Director Eduardo Perdomo from the DC Mayor's Office of Latino Affairs. I also want to acknowledge our ambassadors, Jorge Arguello, Ambassador of Argentina, Fernando Yorca Castro, Ambassador of Costa Rica, Esteban Moctezuma Barragán, Ambassador of Mexico, Milena Mayorga, Ambassador of El Salvador, and Freddy Versace, Charge d'Affaires de Bolivia. I would like to ask all organizational leaders to please stand up. Commander Romo, Danny Vargas, Felix Sanchez, Rosa Mendoza, Amy Hinojosa, where are our organizational leaders? Levántense, por favor. I want to thank our presenting sponsor, AT&T, for your support. Celeste, mil gracias for championing Lulac, for believing in our work. AT&T is truly lucky to have you. To our partners and sponsors in the room, I see you, Chanel. I see you, Bebe. I see you, Google. I see you, Tyson's. I know I'm gonna miss all of you. And I'm gonna mess up at some point and not mention all the sponsors, but know that we are so grateful for all that you do every single day. Thank you for supporting Lulac and the work that we do. I also want to acknowledge our national board. If you could please stand up, our national board members. I want to thank our Lulac national staff. Thank you for all that you do every single day. You see, I'm so blessed to call them my colleagues. As we prepare for the State of Latino America Summit in tonight's gala, I thought a lot about our history and legacy. The founders of Lulac organized this organization in 1929 in Texas, at a time when Jim Crow law was the land of the law, was the law of the land. ¿A dónde están mis tejanos? Where are my Texans? Estaba un poco muy callado. I was wondering where they were. I want to pause here because I want to remember and honor two key leaders who mentored me and who exemplify our roots and legacy. President Rick Dovalina and our beloved General Counsel Luis Vera. As we celebrate Women's History Month, I also want to thank President Robles, President Rosales, and President Moran, our former women national presidents, for their leadership. But you see, the founders of Lulac didn't just create the organization to fight for the basic civil and human rights that were being denied to Latinos at the time. They wanted to build an organization to empower other Latinos to be the architects of our own lives and communities. They wanted to build a resource that would remind us that while we fought to have a seat at the table, we could also build our own table. And the founders wanted its members to know that united, juntos, the League of United, united we thrive. And they understood that representation matters in government, in the judicial system, in corporate boards, and in elected office. And you see, the heart of Lulac is its members. Where are my Lulacers in the house? The people who live and work in local communities and volunteer their time to create change. That is our Lulacers. Individuals like Blanca Vargas, one of our Lulac members celebrating 50 years today, comes to mind at this age. And you see, it's also important to lock arms and uplift allies and make sure that we're there for each other to create change. And I want to uplift Don Jaime Lucero and Jose Aguilar with Fuerza Migrante Foundation for the work that you're trying to do. Thank you for being willing to shift the narrative in America about our immigrant community. And we must not be distracted from the work, the important work that's still ahead. You see, to fulfill the promise of our founders and peacefully, non-violently call into account institutions and those in power who would prefer to delay and deny us the promised health within the principles of our Constitution. This year, we have midterm elections. We know that our greatest act of defiance will be to vote. Our greatest way to protest is to vote. And our greatest way to rise up, represent nuestra comunidad, is to show up and vote. And as I think of what is ahead, Lulac will continue to fight to fulfill our mission, including ensuring our communities have access to technology and broadband. And we will also sharply focus on issues impacting our military and veterans, from mental health, safety, to representation. Lulac also advocates and supports representation of Hispanics and media ownership, including creating an incentive via tax credits. And you see, what we're doing is that we're taking all the excuses away and saying clearly, invest in Hispanic and minority media ownership. We need to change the narrative of Latinos in America. Tonight, I'm proud to say that Lulac reaffirms our support for the nomination of Judge Jackson as the first African American woman. And if you're on social media, estamos contigo, Judge Jackson. Let us not forget how fragile our democracy is. Let us not forget the insurrectionists who stormed our U.S. Capitol, who were willing to commit open acts of violence on a scale not witnessed in modern times at the very seat of power in the United States. Let us not forget the sweeping number of oppressive bills at the state level. And yes, Texas, we are suing you. Yet, we are not deterred, we are not discouraged, and we will not be denied. We are more inspired, more empowered, more united than ever since the very days of the civil rights movement of the 1960s, when Dr. King spoke the words, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." And that's why Lulac also stands with Puerto Rico. You see, we know that we cannot fight against voter suppression in Texas, Iowa, Florida, and Washington state when we have U.S. citizens on the island being denied their very right to be treated equally. We see continuously how our Puerto Rican community is treated as second-class citizens. The fact that there are hundreds of thousands of men and women who have served honorably in the military, who have lost their lives, and yet they cannot vote for the President of the United States. It's a double standard. Is a stain on our democracy and our ideals. Puerto Rico, estamos contigo. And let us not forget that here in DC, we also have a similar battle. We shall overcome any threat, any foe, any barrier placed before us by the strength imparted to us by God. And even though we walk through the valley, we know that our best days lie ahead. You see, we were created with purpose and intention. We still yearn for that basic human dignity and respect for every man, women, and child in America, irrespective of their skin color, their language, gender, religion, or their place of birth. As I conclude, let us now continue to fight and build a better nation as a collective union, together, juntos. Let America be the dream the dreamers dream. Equality is the air we breathe. We the people must redeem and make America a reality our ancestors dream. That's what Langston Hughes said. And it will be up to you and me. Gracias. Y sé que con fe por delante, juntos lo lograremos. As I segue into the introduction, I want to thank President Garcia and Dr. Garcia for their sacrifice. You see, what you may not know is when something happens, President Garcia is on a plane, and the next day, he is where he's needed. And I thank you, Dr. Garcia, for letting us borrow President Garcia. Thank you. She just gave me permission to continue to borrow him. With that, I want to present the National Service Award to an inspirational and fearless leader, otra hondureña, Dr. Maria Elena Potasi. Dr. Potasi is Associate Dean of the National School of Tropical Medicine at Baylor College of Medicine and a Distinguished Professor of Biology at Baylor University. Dr. Potasi is the co-director of the Texas Children's Hospital Center for Vaccine Development, which develops vaccine for diseases like coronavirus. Since the onset of the pandemic, she has worked to develop Corbevax, a COVID-19 vaccine that has been rolled out in India. Unlike other big manufacturers, this vaccine is being shared patent-free to ensure others can produce it as well. Their goal has been to create a low-cost, open-source alternative to expensive and limited vaccines with the power to vaccinate the world and finally eradicate this virus. Dr. Potasi and her colleague Dr. Peter Otes have since been nominated for the 2022 Nobel Peace Prize. Thank you, Dr. Potasi, for your bold contributions to science and the Latino community. Please help me and welcome me, Dr. Potasi, who is with us live from Houston, Texas. Dr. Potasi.
Good evening. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Lulac. What a privilege and honor to be with you tonight, celebrating the League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC's 2022 State of Latino America Summit and 25th National Legislative Awards Gala. LULAC, with its leaders, staff, and members, exemplify the strengths and diversity of our Latino community and the true meaning of servant leadership. Servant leaders see the opportunity to serve others, listen and share knowledge to empower others, and measure success with growth and development. Hence, LULAC's vision, through their focus on education, civil rights, health, and employment for Hispanics, are the conduit supporting and inspiring us, the Hispanic community, to be transformational. So thank you, LULAC, again. Tonight, I am beyond humbled and honored to be the recipient of LULAC's National Service Award, especially this month, Women's History Month, and this week, Universal Women's Week. To receive this award really transcends to more than highlighting acknowledgements. I hope my story exemplifies how the intersection of science and technology with diplomacy, engagement, and service can be an accelerator and a game changer to achieve equity in global health, leading to the world's security and peace. So let me share with you some of my learnings as a Latino woman and stimulate, encourage, empower, and encourage all of you to have a more active voice and remind you that yes, we can. Yes, you can, by believing in yourselves with moral courage and being passionate, creative and courageous, and with audacious goals. Yes, you can by being role models, leveraging your cultural intelligence, being flexible, but authentic. Never forget your heritage, but recognize how culture can have an impact on the world's view. And most importantly, yes, you can, with compassion and empathy, and by listening and engaging into dialogue. Telling your story will leave a mark and will transform your communities. So thank you and congratulations, League of United Latin American Citizens, for your 93 years of service, for ensuring the progress of the Latino community, reducing poverty, social inequity, and maintaining world's peace. As highlighted by the author Peter Block, communities are the structure of belonging. A sense of belonging is where citizens choose to come together and produce a desired future. Thank you.
Since Lulac's earliest years, the organization has been honored to work with many exceptional individuals whose passions, dreams, and goals for the Latino community align with the overall work Lulac does every single day. And for that, they deserve to be recognized tonight and every day of the year. And to present the Lulac Hall of Fame honors, please welcome once more Lulac National President Domingo Garcia.
I've decided that, you heard from the mayor of San Juan that the oldest city in America is San Juan, Puerto Rico. How many of you knew that before today? How many knew the second oldest city was San Agustin? The third oldest city was Santa Fe, New Mexico. The fourth oldest city, El Paso, Texas. Now I tell you that because sometimes history is incorrect. And sometimes we got to tell the pilgrims we were here first. We don't have to go back to where we came from. Ya estábamos aquí. So we decided as their national president to recognize in the Hall of Fame of Lulac those men and women who have made a difference in America, who have stood for and got forward on the issues that are important. I'll tell you a little story. My grandmother told me, she's from Puerto Rico, Texas, that when she was a little girl, she was around 8 years old, one night around 11 p.m. in a little village of Puerto Rico, in 1918, the Texas Rangers arrived. And they got every man aged 12 to 81, 18 of them. They tied their hands behind their back, and they shot and murdered them. All U.S. citizens, all Americans, and nobody was ever charged with a crime. And by the way, they were totally innocent. And that crime was only one person there to speak up against that crime. He was the only Latino in the Texas House of Representatives. His name was J.T. Canales. And in 1919, before Black Lives Matter, before, defund the police, he pushed a bill to disband the Texas Rangers because of the abuse and the atrocities. And he later on became one of the founders of Lulac in 1929. And we want to recognize J.T. Canales as the first inductee into the Lulac Hall of Fame. And here to accept that honor is his grandnephew, Texas State Representative Terry Canales from the Grand Valley of Valle, Texas.
Gracias, Domingo. Thank you. I will be brief. He fought the Texas Rangers at great personal risk to his own life. And the travesties and tragedies that he tried to fight for were horrific. In 2017, I had the great privilege of being the last opposition speech against SB 4, which was Texas' anti-sanctuary cities bill, which was basically a show me your papers bill. And as I looked up in the chamber where my photo was, I could see my great uncle's photo. And I can tell you that the fight's not over. The fight is not over. It's alive and well today. J.T. Canales' fight against racism, against oppression, is not over. We must fight every single day with every breath that we have against racism and oppression. So today I want to thank you because this award and this recognition is a commitment by Lulac to continue the fight. So thank you. Thank you for this award on behalf of the Canales family and on behalf of everybody who's ever stood up at their own personal risk to fight against oppression.
Our next inductee is from, I don't even know if they're the 6th oldest city in America, San Antonio, Texas. And he was also one of the founders of Lulac. I don't know if many of you may or may not know, but in Texas, there were schools for Mexican Americans and for Anglos. Mexican Americans could not serve on juries. And this man said, that's not right. We're going to fight them in court, and we're going to make sure that we're treated equally and fairly. He took it on when he was subject to threats to his life. But he stood up, and he said, Lulac is here to defend the rights of all Americans, especially those here whose last name might have been with an EZ. How many of you have a last name that ends with an EZ? Sanchez, Lopez, Rodriguez, okay? Hijo de Hernán, hijo de Sancho. But, you know, he stood up for those battles, and I want to recognize, and our second MD is going to be Alfonso Perales, and accepting for Alfonso Perales. Our past national presidential vote is going to be accepting for Alfonso Perales. Thank you all. Our next inductee is no longer here with us. He passed away last year. He was general counsel for Lulac for many years. He took the battles of redistricting and gerrymandering and voter suppression. 2 years ago, they purged 89,000 voters from the rolls of Texas. And all of them, by the way, Mexican-American, all U.S. citizens, all illegally done. And Luis Vera took that battle on, won in court, and got all 89,000 of those voters reinstated. Unfortunately, he lost his battle of cancer last year. And I want to recognize Luis Vera as our next inductee into Lulac Hall of Fame, and that award is going to be accepted by Rudy Rosales, Texas State Director.
I lost a friend, I lost a comrade, I lost a soldier. Little brother, I accept this award on your behalf and on behalf of the Vera family. Thank you.
The next inductee, I want to make sure I get this right, is another champion for Lulac. He was from Houston, Texas, home of NASA, and home of a lot of Latinos that have been fighting for justice in America. Unfortunately, he also passed away last year. He served as national president of Lulac. He fought on many battles on voter registration and voter turnout. And that is our past national president, Enrique Loborina, and accepting the award, Linda Chavez.
I'll just be very brief and say what Rick used to tell me. He was my mentor, he was my guide. I miss him terribly, and so do all of his friends. I'll be brief and say what he used to tell me, and I hope you all take this to heart. If you follow this and the Constitution and the protocols, you will never, ever go wrong, and that's why we've lasted for 93 years. Thank you.
Our next inductee, really you know who she is when you see her hats, okay? For those Lulacers, you know what I'm talking about. She has a long history of being a labor activist, fighting for the community in her hometown of San Antonio, Texas. And the second woman national president of Lulac, Rosa Rosales, come on up.
I accept this as a humble person, but the one, los que desean, los que de veras, se tienen que reconocer aquí es cada uno de ustedes. Todas las organizaciones, cada miembro de Lulac, todos los líderes, todos los Hispanic Caucus, cada uno de ustedes ha hecho diferencia. Lulac ha hecho su trabajo porque hemos tenido mucho apoyo con todas las comunidades. Para todos los activists, a todos los labor leaders. Hay bastante líderes aquí. Y por eso me da mucho honor de estar aquí enfrente de cada uno de ustedes. La lucha sigue y sigue, y saben ustedes muy bien, como lo han dicho mucho, nosotros juntos vamos a hacer la diferencia. Todos hablan del voto, y eso no se puede decir bastante, porque la diferencia cuando nos quieren quitar nuestra cultura, nos quieren quitar el derecho de la educación, nos quieren quitar el derecho de las escuelas, de los libros, cualquier libro van a leer ahora, ¿verdad? Porque no quieren decir la historia de verdaderamente cómo pasó. Eso es muy importante, el voto sí se cuenta, como dicen todos, pero no nomás de hablar del voto, cada uno de nosotros conocemos mucha gente, no nomás nuestros parientes. Y ahorita, porque nos están atacando, pero la diferencia, ustedes saben, como los latinos nos dicen que no y dijimos más los ganas. Por eso, muchísimas gracias. Sigan la lucha, porque la lucha sigue y sigue, y la diferencia es cada uno de ustedes se necesita en este perro que tenemos para que sigan nosotros reconocernos que somos latinos y que somos muy proud. Y cuando nos dicen que no, vamos a decir sí. Cuando nos dicen que no, vamos a decir sí, porque la diferencia la va a hacer cada uno de ustedes, y cada uno de aquí, como le digo, lo recibo este Humble Award para ustedes, porque sin ustedes no se hace nada. Gracias.
All right. Our last honoree, also, they always say behind every great man there's a greater woman, you know? And I also want to say, and you heard our CEO who's doing talking about doing a great job, is that my wife of 36 years, going on 37, the first Latina ever elected to the Dallas City Council, the first Latina Mayor Pro Tem of the Dallas City Council, the first Latina Dallas County Commissioner, and the first immigrant Latina, which is from Mexico originally, to be elected Dallas County Commissioner. But more importantly, the wife of my two sons, Dr. Elba Garcia. I want to recognize her. But I also want to recognize our last person. She was the first woman president of Lulac in 1994. Think about how long it was, 1929. And she served our community greatly. She opened up an office in El Paso. She continues to be active. She was elected to the El Paso County Community College District as a trustee. Unfortunately, because of her health, she is not here with us. But I'd like to introduce to you, accepting for Belén Robles, our first woman national president, Lourdes Galvan.
I'm honored to represent our beloved Belén Robles, who was the first Latina mujer elected to president of this great organization of Lulac. Secondly, we're Tejanas. I'm Tejana, the birthplace of Lulac. And it gives me an honor that there's so many people here, like Ms. Rosa Rosales, who was also a president. We have a powerhouse in the most racist state in the United States, and that's Texas. We have a lot of work to do. We continue carrying that torch to make sure that our voices are heard. We're going to continue that fight. We're never giving up. La causa sigue, 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 y no nos vamos hasta que cambie todo. Gracias.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the initial class of the Lulac Hall of Fame. Gracias.